Traditional university instruction is where courses are taught in parallel. Within one given semester, students would sign up for 4, maybe 5 different courses or subjects. They would take them all at the same time. But what would you say to a new pedagogy, where students can take the same amount of courses within the same semester, however, one course at a time? So this is known as block teaching. This is an intensive mode, which would last 4 to 5 weeks, where a student would take one course during that time. Once they finish, they move on to another course. Now, today's video is based on an article called "Is Block Teaching the Future of University Pedagogy?" published January 6, 2022 by Anne Mackay in the Times Higher Education. Now, this article goes on to say that there are certain advantages to this pedagogy. It allows students to focus and to have very deep concentration because they're just doing one course at a time. For instructors, the same thing. They also get to focus. They get to delve into the teaching activities and to have more innovative styles of teaching where they would actually deal with students in a very concentrated way. Plus, they would have more time to do other things such as research. The article gave various examples of this method's success. They say, in the University of Suffolk, the average grade for students increased from 56% to 66%. Victoria University in Australia, the pass level or rate increased from 82% to 93%. In the University of Plymouth in the UK, the average grade for students increased from 63% to 67%. Now, these, of course, for various courses, not for all students, but for the courses where this methodology was applied. However, the article goes on to say that there are certain disadvantages as well. Number one, if a student takes time off because they're sick or they had to travel, the time taken leaves very serious consequences for those students. So missing a few days is like missing a couple of weeks in the traditional sense. Also, the method is linear, which means that it assumes that students move in a linear fashion from one course to the next. Also, it says that students do not benefit from the interaction that takes place between different courses. So if you're just focusing on one course, you're missing out of certain things that are perhaps cross points between various courses that you would be taking simultaneously. Also, some critics say that it's not suited for reflective learning, which means that if we're rushing to get through this and we're just spending 3 or 4 weeks within one course, doesn't it take more time to reflect for students to actually absorb that information? Finally, the critics also said that from a teacher's perspective, there needs to be a redesign of the material, which takes time. They say this because the traditional method of teaching, of course, takes into account that there's going to be 15, 16 weeks, etc. However, this method has to encompass all of that material within a very short period of time. My take. Now, as the case in all different pedagogy, there is no one method that works for all learners. However, there are some studies that show that block learning is very effective for first-year students. It lowers the attrition rate, and it also helps those students ease their way into university life. This is my take. I would like to hear yours.